Hey guys, welcome back to Hands On channel. We got a rare one for you today. We're working on the Great White Buffalo, my K2500 Suburban. That's been a really reliable machine for me. I usually don't have any problems with it, but recently I was trying to take a trip and I had a trailer on the back, and basically what happened was I hit the brake on the highway pretty hard, and all of a sudden the truck kind of wanted to dart to the left, and I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. And I was actually heading out into the Rocky Mountains, so I didn't want to go into the mountains over some of those mountain passes with one of my front brakes not working. That's kind of what I thought initially. So I went ahead. When I got back home, I turned around, came back home, and when I got back, I jacked up the truck, pulled the front wheels off, jack standed it, all that stuff. You got to be safe and use jack stands, of course. I took the front wheels off, took the calipers off, cleaned everything, put brand new brake pads on it, cleaned the pins, greased the pins, did everything, put it all back together, went and drove it, and it was doing the exact same thing. So then I thought, man, it must be a sticking piston on the right front. And also I checked the flow of the brake line, and the right front brake line was flowing just fine, just like the left one. So it wasn't a flow issue, because that's one thing that can cause that, is if you get a brake hose that's they'll basically act as a check valve. They'll only let fluid go one way, and it's because the rubber starts to swell shut on them. But that's not the case on this truck. So I almost changed the brake hose anyways, but I was like, no, I'm not going to change out a good factory GM part when I don't need to. So now I started thinking of something. I don't know, a couple of nights ago it just came to me. I was like, oh yeah, I remember something weird happened like a month ago. About a month ago, I had my truck parked out here for like 2 weeks, and I usually don't let it set that long, but I had it here on this hill, nose forward, and that's how I normally park the thing, with the emergency brake set. And I pulled the emergency brake off to go somewhere. I put it in reverse, took off, tried to take off, and it wouldn't go. I could tell it was like the emergency brake was still on. So I put it in drive and tried again, and it popped free. I heard something kind of make a noise. It went pop, kind of loud, and I was like, okay, that's probably just the brake shoes coming loose, coming unstuck from the drums, because it's sat there for a little too long. And anyways, long story short, after I remembered that happened, I started thinking, maybe I've got, I broke a piece of brake hardware inside of here, or maybe I've got one of these brake shoes is so thin that it's metal to metal, or it's not actually doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to try to get these off in this first part of the video. It's just mainly going to be about how to remove these stuck brake drums, because they do tend to get stuck over time. You can see that's a pretty tight clearance there, and a little bit of rust will form. So I've got out a couple of hammers. We're going to start small, but we'll probably end up having to use that one to persuade this off. And we're just basically going to do a visual inspection here and see what's going on. I'm hoping I'll find a piece of broken hardware, and it'll be pretty obvious. Okay, so these have a nice big area to hit. That's the nice thing. I'll pull you in here and show you what's going on. So there's a nice wide area to hit right here. Try to get you some good lighting there. It's about as good as it's going to get. You don't want to hit this. So you want to hit this right here, not this. This is the dust plate for the back of the brake hardware and stuff. So don't bang on this part. Bang on this part. And there's a couple of areas where it's thinner, I've noticed, or where it's actually thicker, right there. So don't bang on the thinner parts, bang on the thicker parts. And we're just going to find us a place we can get a good swing, and probably around the bottom somewhere. And we're going to try to tap this thing off. All right, I felt it move, so I'm hoping I can pull it off now from out here. It's kind of a wiggle and pull technique there that you want to do. So this is about 50 pounds, so be prepared for that. I'm going to get my hand underneath it and get my foot out of the way. Yeah, this is one of those tools you got to have if you're going to work on cars, especially heavy duty ones. There we go. Okay. You want to get it to a point where you can pull it. Oh, that's heavy. The good news is the inside of that drum looks pretty good. And what I'm doing here is looking around for broken parts. You want to inspect these little springs, make sure none of these springs are broken. And actually the pads and everything looks pretty good. Another thing you're going to look at is, see right up in here, this is your rear wheel cylinder, they call it. And these things basically push out, and that's what actuates the brake shoes inside of the drum. That's what makes you stop. So everything's in order in here. I don't see anything wrong. I'll get you around on this side. And you can see these things here are pretty common to break, and both of those are intact. And all my upper springs look good. I don't see any issues. No, I'm looking for leaks right here because this is a hydraulic cylinder, and usually they'll show sign of leakage. The bottom spring is connected, and I will before I put this back together because I'm not seeing, even the shoes look pretty good. I don't see any real reason to change them right now. That's definitely not causing my problem. So we must be on the other side. So we're going to repeat the process on the other side. All right, this is the side where I expect we're going to find problems because it was pulling to the left. So that would tell me that even on the rear, there's probably something going on with this one. So let's see. Yeah! All right, that was a workout. So now we're going to do the wiggle technique and see if we can get it to come off like the other side. Okay, let's see what's behind rotor number 2. Looking for obvious problems. I don't see anything wrong. No evidence of broken springs. I was kind of hoping to find something broken in here. I don't know. I don't see any any big problems. This is older wet. It was wet here before, but it doesn't look like it's freshly wet. So I do not know now. This is worrying me because I was hoping to find something obvious in here. And it does not look like anything obvious is bad. And I think these are rigid brake lines. I'll have to look at that, but I don't think there's any rubber brake lines back here on this end. Maybe there is one little section there. I don't know, I can't tell. So guys, I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board on this. I thought I'd be able to get in here and find something obvious, but it looks like the mystery is not solved yet. I don't see anything obvious wrong. Every spring is intact. The inside of the drum looks good. It was hell getting it off of there, as you saw. But what happens is this little band right here, it rusts and kind of welds itself together, and you just have to overcome that. And it turns out I had to use John Henry's hammer, so it's a good thing I had that on standby. All right, guys, we'll have to conclude the video here, and we'll come back. If I see anything else, I'm going to inspect and see what else I can find, and I'll come back with an update when I figure this thing out. Okay, so I started thinking I needed to figure out if these wheel cylinders are actuating or not. So I had my assistant come out, and she's sitting in the driver's seat, and I'm going to have her gently push the brake pedal, because right now these brake shoes are not captured by the drum. So because of that, we don't want to bust any of these springs or anything like that. So go ahead and push the brake just a tiny bit, ever so gently. Keep going. Okay, stop. I saw the left side move a little, just a little bit more. Okay, stop. We're definitely actuating. Let off. Okay, so now I'm going to go around and check the other side, make sure the same thing's going on. Okay, do the same thing. Okay, let off. Do it again one more time. Okay, let off. Now, on both sides, you saw only the front side moved, but if it was captured by the drum, both sides would be moving. So, my mystery is ongoing. I guess it's possible I still have something going on the front brake calipers, but I'm going to have to take the front wheels off to check that out. But my back brakes seem to be working fine. I don't see any obvious signs of anything broken or any leaks. So we're going to put everything back together and see what we've got going on. Now, I do have an ABS light on the dash, but it's been on since I've owned this vehicle, and I just assumed it meant the ABS doesn't work. So who knows, maybe that's coming back to haunt me. Maybe I've got some issues going on, and I'm considering just disconnecting the battery for like 10 minutes or whatever so that it clears the code for the ABS, and then plugging it back in and seeing what happens. I've done a little bit of homework on the forums online, and I heard some guys saying that they were having ABS issues and they had to go out to a gravel road and get going a pretty good clip and then jam on the brakes so that it made the ABS actuate, and once it did, then it would straighten it out. So I guess it could be something like that, but I don't know. I really expected to see something in one of the four wheels that I've taken apart. So all right, guys, hopefully this helped you out, and good luck on your brake adventures, and I'm sure I'll do a follow-up in the future and talk about what we found out. All right, until then, we'll see you later.